Hey man, I'm hot. I am hot in this movie. I am just this kick-ass woman who is going around and killing supernatural serial killers.
A lot of times they go through those stupid appeals and all of a sudden they get out. So we should snuff them.
From the famous Acme Theater in Hollywood, it's the Gregory Mantell Show.
Today, actress Elaine Hendrix is here. Her new movie, Dear Lemon Lima, is premiering at the LA Film Festival. You've seen her in Parent Trap, What the Bleep, and Joan of Arcadia. And later, a husband and wife psychologist and defense attorney duel it out over the death penalty. But up first, Elaine Hendrix. Great to have you here today, Elaine.
Hey, thank you.
So I know you've only got about half a dozen movies coming out.
Only.
But this one coming up, the LA Film Festival. Now, is that Lima as in Peru, or Lima beans, or what are we talking here? Lima, Lima?
Tomatoes, tomatoes. We said
Potatoes, potatoes.
Exactly.
Okay.
We called it Dear Lemon Lima, but I think it's going to be interesting to see what it really ends up being.
Slaughtered.
It's going to be slaughtered.
And I told you I'm going to contribute to the problem today, so I'll call it everything possible during the interview. So what's it about?
It is a very bittersweet, quirky film about kind of a coming of age for this young Alaskan girl who's part Native American, and as a result of that she gets sent off to a school for a special program, and she doesn't fit in, and it's about her life and finding her own way, and sort of the people around her who help to help her discover who she really is.
And are you one of those people?
I am. I'm Coach Roach.
Coach Roach. Sounds like the Roach Motel or something. I don't know, one of these
hey man, I'm hot. I am hot in this movie. Oh yeah.
No Roach. Okay. So what are you? You're a good role model for her, though.
I don't know that
I'm a good role model.
You know, I don't know that I would say that, and you know, I'm kind of joking about the hot thing. When people see it, you'll know why. It's
anti-hot. Huh?
Yeah, it's funny. Well, she thinks she's hot.
Oh.
I say I'm like I'm the cousin. I'm the Uncle Rico of this film. Did you see Napoleon Dynamite?
Yeah.
And John Grice's character, his uncle who comes to stay with him, I'm sort of like the Uncle Rico of this movie, where I'm sort of gross, but you love me.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what did they do? Like put heavy makeup on you or something? Or
nope,
Klingon makeup or something? You
nope.
Like,
you'll
Danny DeVito?
You'll have to wait and see.
Wait and see, okay. And this is opening in June.
Well, it's premiering. It's just
premiering.
It just finished. I think they just finished it a few weeks ago, and so the very first film it got submitted to is the LA Film Festival, which is kind of a big deal, and so it's going to be premiering there.
I keep hearing that festival's getting bigger all the time.
Yeah, it is.
And you're producing this as well, or helping to produce
this
it?
one I didn't.
Oh, you didn't. But you have been branching out into producing with some of them.
Yes, I have. I have several films that I've been on the producing team of, and several more coming out. So, one of them, another one that just got finished recently, and we have a sales agent, and it's starting to make the rounds to various distributors, is Good Intentions.
Oh.
And I did that. I starred in that with Luke Perry and Leanne Rimes, and John Grice. Speaking of Uncle Rico, is in that as well. And that is a very sweet Southern comedy where I play a mother and a wife who is wanting a better life for her kids. And so I start robbing my husband, played by Luke Perry, because I think he's wasting all of our money.
Oh.
So, but that I
well,
love.
At first I was going to say, is that more you, like the sweet Southern? But then I don't know about the robbing part. But I wasn't trying to imply anything.
Well, we were talking about my car getting stolen and that whole thing. Yeah. But
actually, would you like to talk about that time in Houston?
When I got pulled over and had my hands to my head and knees to the ground.
It's really unbelievable.
That was a trip. That was a trip.
Have you thought about doing a movie about that?
No, I don't think it warrants a movie per se, but it could definitely be a scene in a movie. I felt like it was a scene happening out of a movie in my life.
Yeah, sometimes it's almost like an out-of-body experience, but you can use that now in your work, right? You can relate to...
Yeah, and people are going to be going, what are we talking about? I reported my car stolen. I found my car. I got stopped along the highway on Interstate 10 back in Texas because my car had been reported stolen. And I said, oh, no, I found it. So the sheriff guy, put it through the system again. And I supposedly cleared it up, but then months later in Los Angeles, I get pulled over and
the car theft that won't go away.
Oh my God! And all these cop cars converged on me, and the guy in Texas was like, he pulled me over and he was like, "Hey, your car's showing up stolen." I mean, he was so like nonchalant about it. It was just him, and it was out on the interstate, and he's like, "Well, follow me," and it was kind of no big deal. But then I come to Los Angeles, and there's like an entire SWAT team coming down on me. It was
don't mess with that.
I know. I guess.
But yeah, I mean, it's I don't know. It's it's kind of like the little things you don't think about. But who would have thought that like reporting your car stolen, which is a natural thing to do if you think your car is stolen, but that actually you could almost get shot because you report your car stolen.
Indeed.
So.
Yeah, but I haven't had any problems since.
Not since.
Yeah.
Okay, you've been on good behavior.
I've been on good behavior, except for in the movie Good Intentions.
and what about Luke Perry and Leanne Rhymes? What was it like working with them?
Well, Leanne I've known for years.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, I brought her into the movie, and we share a very good friend, which is how we met. And Luke I had never known before until this film, and he, I gotta say, we really come off as like this small town Southern couple who had probably been together since high school. We had some nice chemistry. The whole cast did.
Well, and that's
really
what I was
nice
trying
chemistry.
to get to early before we got into your cop story. You're almost
before we digress.
Yeah. No, but I was just gonna say, I mean, you seem to have that kind of aura, like the Southern kind of, a little more hometown kind of person. Is that you or not? In real life, are you more like that, or like the Rico?
No, the Coach Roach.
Yeah.
Are you Etta Milford or are you Coach Roach? No, I'm a Tennessee girl. I grew up in the mountains, and that's home to me. And I've been all over the world, and Tennessee is still my favorite place. So I think that I think I just carry that with me wherever
So
I
you
go.
like to travel? When you said you've been all over the world?
I do. Well, a lot. Being in this business really helps because I get to travel for that. In fact, that's been the majority of like Australia and Hong Kong and Italy and England and all these really great places.
Where was your favorite place out of all those places?
Australia.
Really?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So is it true what they say then, that how great all the people are and how beautiful the country is and all of that?
It's phenomenal. It's really phenomenal there. It's so. It's the same, and yet it's so different. It's the same because, it's easier to get around in a country where I can speak the language. So they speak English there, and that definitely makes it easier. The people are extremely nice. But the country,
But did they say, oh no, there's that mean woman from Parent Trap?
Yeah, everywhere I go. You're the lady from the Parent Trap.
See, and I was trying to put that out there. I thought, we'll go against the image, let's talk about you're a nice Tennessee girl. You're not the meanie from Parent Trap,
No, I'm her too, I
you
gotta
are?
say.
You got the tough city side of you too, huh?
Yeah, well, you got to. God, I'm in show business. Doesn't everybody have some
And now that you've
some
gone
of
into
that?
producing, you must be hardcore, right?
And producing, that's a whole different thing. But I produce independent films. I like that, at least as of now. I don't really have any desire to get into the big leagues with the big boys. I think it's hard enough in independent films, and I think it would just be my constitution could not, I don't think, handle dealing with like big studios and stuff, at least on a producing side.
Well, truthfully, quality-wise, and I just think, this is the truth. It's not even just saying that. The independent films are better than most of the big studio releases anyway. They got great special effects, but if you really look at the story, and plus all the big stars are doing independent films anyway. They do their money films, and then they do their quality films that are the independent films.
Right.
So, more power to you.
Yeah, thanks.
Up next, more with Elaine Hendrix. We'll be right back.
This game was created to test your strength and focus. Philip and Ryan are going to help me demonstrate. Now, in the olden days, after a successful hunt, the Eskimos packed their game and hunted long distance back to tribe.
And we are back with Elaine Hendrix. So you have another independent film in the works, Eve?
Eve, I do. Well, I have several films, but Eve is one of the more exciting ones for me. I am just this kick-ass woman who is going around and killing.
Literally, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
but supernatural serial killers.
Oh.
So I'm sort of like a bounty hunter.
You know, we are
the
on
bad
a serial
guys.
kick around here. We've been talking about serial killers more lately on the show.
Really?
I don't know what it is. We just,
oh my
it's
gosh.
in the air around here. So anyway, on that theme, so you're
I guess so.
You're going after supernatural
serial killers. Yeah, and we're just in the early stages of getting it all put together, and already there's been a big buzz. It's been announced all over the place because that film, Eve, has come out of another film that I did with the same filmmaker, Brian Metcalf. And we shot this film, Fading of the Cries, that has Thomas Ian Nicholas in it from American Pie, and Brad Dourif, who was like Chucky. He played Chucky, and he was an Academy.
Do they still make those Chucky movies?
Oh yeah, they're huge. And Brad was in. He was in the Lord of the Rings series and was nominated.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, for another little film called One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. So Brad Dourif's huge in the genre. We were all in this other genre film. It's I have to figure out how to talk about these films without really giving too much away. I haven't mastered that yet.
Especially if I've seen them and stuff, I could like get into a lot of specifics, but you try not to. Because I hate it when people give away too much of the movies. Like I like to go experience the movie. I mean, do you like? You don't want to know the ending before you go to.
It's but I'm one of those people. I'll sit there and I'll be like, okay, so what is he doing? Like, what's going to happen next? Like, I'll talk through the entire film. It drives my boyfriend crazy. Oh my God.
I saw that the other day in a movie. Like a couple sat down and the woman was talking the whole time to the guy. Maybe that was you.
It was probably me. It probably was. But so yeah. So I don't want to know before I go in, but then I do. But so in talking about these films, Fading of the Cries is like a fantasy horror thriller type movie, and it's got some phenomenal special effects in it. I mean, the whole thing, it's going to take an entire year for it to finish in post, just because.
But isn't that very expensive to do, though?
It is, except for that they have found a way to be able to do this on a smaller independent budget and make it
even
look.
The independent films these days.
Well, this team has, and it. So far is just looking epic. I mean, it's really phenomenal. Yeah, so I'm very excited about that. And then as a result of these, and another genre film I did, The Beacon, another one I did called Food for Thought, a few more that I have coming up, like David and Samaritan. There's a few others. I'm like now kind of becoming a genre girl and going like to FangoCon and Comic-Con and DragonCon and all these.
I almost went to Comic-Con, but I didn't go.
Well, it's coming up. The one in San Diego is coming up in July.
Oh, is it? Okay, it's been a year already.
Yeah, time flies. But then we just did FangoCon, and then we're doing DragonCon in September, and then who knows what else.
DragonCon, was everyty in dragon?
Let me tell you something. There's so many cons, like all these cons.
Con, probably.
Yeah, con.
It must be a good racket. Let's start one.
You can. They make so much money at these things. At least I hope they do, because of
talk show con. Damn, I said it. Now Oprah will do it.
I know, right? It'll be huge. It'll be huge. You know what? You probably could, and like everyone who has a talk show in any medium could like show up at this convention, and voila, you charge a fee to get in.
And people dress up like their favorite talk show hosts.
Exactly.
Now, assuming the whole room doesn't look like Gregory Mantell, no, that'd be interesting. You have your David Letterman, your Oprah, your Jay Leno.
Yeah, because people do that. They get all dressed up, and the horror genre, their fans are incredible. They're so loyal, and you know, I'm pretty new to the genre, and I'm really looking forward to it. I like it. It's also one of the genres that you can pretty much guarantee a woman is going to get to be active in some way, whether she's running from a killer or running to save someone or do something. She gets to be very active.
But you like the way they've changed a lot of them, you know, because before the woman used to be the victim.
Right.
You know, she was running, and falling down.
Right, of course.
Of course. You know, it's like, oh my God.
Or in the shower, you know, getting lathered up. And
but now these days, though, usually they turn it around and like then they go on the attack and they'll like go after Jason or Freddy and, and like kick their ass or something. Or do you like that? I mean, it kind of, I don't want to say takes the horror out of horror, but it's, I don't know, what do you think? Is it better to just be chased or chase or be chased? I don't know.
This is kind of what all about Eve is. This movie Eve is all about her doing the chasing, and at times she does have to, you know, run herself. But I think it's great for women to be standing up. And
women a different role model. I mean, honestly, that must affect people in real life to think that, you know, like you fight back.
Yeah, totally.
You know, you hear that more like even on the news and something like, oh, the woman fought back or something, you know, versus just thinking the guy is going to.
Power to the women.
So did you do a lot of stunts or something like this in the movie? Or
I do. I'm very active. I'm a classically trained dancer is how I kind of got started in all this craziness. Yeah.
And did you really kick the guy's butt?
I did my own fight choreography. We have a sales trailer put together for Eve, and even Fading, and a lot of other movies. Another movie I have coming out, Rock Slide. I got to be very physical in that, and I think that that's kind of, given my dance background, I think that's kind of my specialty, getting to do very physically active characters, particularly physical comedy, which Rock Slide. And we're kind of jumping all over the place here, but
and that's Andy Dick, isn't it?
That's Andy Dick, who we've done.
Now, what is he like? Because I've heard various things about, or when he did that show on MTV, I think.
Well, he had his own show, the Andy Dick Show, but we first met doing a remake of Get Smart. It was a series of very short-sleeve, short-lived.
You were Agent 66.
I was 66. I was 99 upside down. And
now, was there some? Do I want to go there? Was back the way the movie was, or what? Was it I think that there's some kind of a sexual reference.
Oh, no. Well, they were going to name me Agent 69. I'm like, okay, let's stick with 66. Yeah. But so we met then, and then I did his show, and we've done a couple of other movies together, and then Rock Slide came up. And actually, another movie, I'd called him, and I said, you got to come do this one. So then when Rock Slide came up, he called me and said, you got to come do this. So I went and met with Patrick Warburton, who stars in it. And then we have a lot of great cameos like Eric Roberts, Jason Alexander, Leah Thompson, and that's just starting to like do film festivals and.
Well, we're running out of time, but I did want to mention, I know you're also very big with animal rights. In fact, you're the spokesperson for...
In Defense of Animals. In Defense of Animals, idausa.org. Animals it's a whole second career for me. I'm very passionate about them. I work in every aspect with them, from rescue all through everything up to legislation. I've spoken...
That really seems to be a big thing these days. I mean, you hear a lot about the animal rescues, you know, that people... I mean, you must be very effective with those groups because, I mean, I'm hearing about it more all the time.
Good, yeah. Well, it's, you know, it kind of tends to be an underdog issue, and a lot of people will say to me, well, you know, how can you help animals when kids are starving and all this? And it's like, you know, compassion doesn't have any boundaries. You know, you can't just say that you can only care about one thing. No, we're all in this together. We're all on this planet together. So we will not survive without animals, and people don't always think about that.
People in LA love their dogs.
Yes, they do.
There are more industries. I was walking down the promenade the other day. They gave me a sign for a pet bakery. Like these pet grooming companies, you ever see all these vans and trucks going around town with all these services for, like, one guy will take your dog mountain or, you know, hiking.
Hiking, sure.
I mean, all of this stuff. So I'm going to do a dog talk show host. That's my next thing.
Let me tell you something. The pet industry in America alone is a $6 billion industry. Wow. It's huge.
DogCon, that's what I'm going to do.
DogCon, there you go.
Well,
I'll show up.
Thank you very much, Elaine Hendrix. We will look for your film premiering at the LA Film Festival.
Dear Lemon Lima.
Lima. We will be right back. Up next, a husband and wife psychologist and defense attorney duel it out over the death penalty. And we are back. Joining me now are psychologist Dr. Vonda Pelto and attorney Jim Lia. They just happen to be married and have opposite stands on the death penalty. Today we're going to let them battle it out. Welcome back today, Dr. Pelto.
Yes. Good to see you,
Jim.
Greg.
Pleasure.
Hi, Greg.
All right, so I know from having you on the show that you are for the death penalty.
Yes.
And you're against it.
Correct.
But that is interesting, not only because of your background as psychologist and attorney, but the fact that you're married. So I thought we'd have a nice heated debate today. So why are you against the death penalty?
Too expensive.
Too expensive.
Too expensive. It costs over $5 million just to get up to the appellate stage.
Per case?
Per case.
So if someone's on death row or have been indicted, convicted of murder?
Convicted of murder, automatic appeal. And it takes about 5 years to get all the transcripts together. Have to appoint an attorney. There are very few of them who do those cases.
$5 million.
and it takes at least $5 million to go up to the
And I think they
appeal.
say that usually you're on death row for like 20 years in California,
Correct.
or something.
Correct.
So it's also got to be very expensive. Well, so is $5 million too big of a price to pay?
No. I'm telling you, having worked in the men's jail for 3 years and seeing these guys, see, you didn't work with serial killers like I did, but I know darn good and well that a lot of times they go through those stupid appeals and all of a sudden they get out. So we should snuff them. You know, I understand about the money. I understand what you're saying, but we should do something different about the appeals. Well, hey, the real answer is you put them out in general population and kind of let the survival of the fittest.
Well, that's my point. See, we already agree.
Oh.
What you do is you give them a life sentence, no chance of parole,
But
put them in general population.
No, well, if they would do that. But
Well,
the
they
way,
would.
No, they won't, because remember I got hired into the jail because one of those guys offed himself before he could testify. So, you know, there would be public outcry. And so they're not going to do that.
Well, nobody got upset when Dahmer was killed, did they?
Well, no,
Well,
okay, you
that's
have
part
a
of the thing,
point.
and I hate to interrupt this
You
one
have a
because I
point.
want to see where this is going. But there is, let's say, you know, the moral side of it, just, you know, that if he got his, I mean, if he killed these people and people think that, you know, that he deserved to get some kind of punishment, is it just a simple moral matter that they deserve to, you know, an eye for an eye?
Eye
Yeah.
for an eye. If you actually do eye for an eye, then they should be put to death the way they put other people to death.
Now, see, you're coming around to my
Is that what you're
viewpoint.
proposing?
What? No, you can't do that. You cannot do that.
Well, they should.
How are you going to do that?
Well, I don't know. Maybe let them have a few rounds with the families of the kids they've killed.
No.
Yes.
No, so you're going to have people become killers of the killers?
Well, they'll wear masks. Nobody will know who they are.
What would you say to the people, though, who say that, you know, one argument against the death penalty is that makes you, if you're going to kill someone, then that puts you on the same level as, you're complaining about them killing someone, but you're killing someone.
Well, I think that's a good argument. I don't know how the guards do it. I really don't. They're standing there, and they're the ones who drop the pill, and they know it. I mean, this person has to go home at night, and they know they put someone to death. I don't know about anybody else, but I wouldn't feel very good about that. Now, Vonda seems to indicate that she pushed the button.
Well, you know, I
I think
guess
snuff was the word she used.
Snuff.
snuff them. I don't know. If I have to admit, honestly, if I was really standing there and I had to actually do it, I don't know if I actually could. But I just know that so many times, like Bill Bonin, he had killed, he was arrested, he was in jail, he got out, and he killed some more kids.
But he wasn't convicted of murder the first time.
Well, I know, but he should have been. Well, I know what you're saying, but there are just many times when these guys are released on some kind of crazy technicality.
Well, what
and
if
then they
they're
go
innocent?
out.
What if they're innocent? You
Well,
actually know
yeah.
the case. A man's been convicted of murder,
Yeah.
and you believe that he is innocent.
True.
Should he be put to death?
I guess that's why they have so many appeals, to make sure.
What would you say to the people who say that an argument in favor of the death penalty is that the people who are opposed to it are more concerned about the rights of the criminal than the victims? And you were talking about the families.
I'm concerned about the taxpayer. This costs too much money. We cannot afford it.
So just from the practical or the financial
Practical.
point of view.
Don't let them out. It's cheaper to house them off death row. And if you put them in general population, they will probably disappear very quickly.
Well, if they would do that, see, I could see that then as maybe a compromise. If they would actually let them be out in general population, it'd be cheaper, and the other inmates would take care of them.
But they're always kept in solitary confinement.
Oh.
That's why it's so. That's why it's so horribly expensive, actually.
Yeah.
Because the other inmates would get them, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. They're treated almost like royalty in some ways,
Exactly.
because they're in their own individual cells. They have individual attention from the guards, and they have special yard privileges all by themselves.
Well, one thing I've heard a lot in Europe, actually, when I was talking to some people last summer about this overseas, and actually the European Union has outlawed the death penalty.
Right.
In fact, sometimes I know with Mexico we had problems that they wouldn't extradite people to the U.S. because we did have the death penalty, although they kind of worked on that some. But they're, even though in some ways they're non-religious, but yet one of their main arguments, though, is that like judging another person, that again who says you have the right to take that person's life, or kind of sit in judgment, which to me sounds very religious, even though it wasn't quite from a religious point of view.
Yeah.
But
it really comes down, though, to the people who really make that decision are the jury and the judge.
Right.
So they make the decision regarding the death penalty, and then the state is ordered to carry it out.
well, you're the psychologist. Couldn't you just rehab everybody?
No. Having, again, my experience in the jail working with all of these big serial killers, there is no rehabilitation for them. They're not going to change. Like Bill Bonin said when I asked him how did it feel to kill a boy, he said, I didn't feel anything. And I couldn't understand that kind of an attitude, and so I said, well, was it like killing an animal? And he said, I have more feeling for an animal. So this kind of person who's sociopathic, meaning no guilt, no remorse, they are not rehabilitatable.
And this is not a deterrent.
No, no.
No?
No, and a lot of people think that if you did do away with the death penalty, then more people would kill because they believe that it's a deterrent. It's not a deterrent.
No.
So you really just think that the people are so messed up that it doesn't even register that they might.
They're so driven, and the problem is they have such poor impulse control, and typically they're so very, very angry.
But do you think, for some people though, don't you think, like at least at the borderline or something, it must make a difference with somebody?
Well, it might make some difference with a man who shoots his wife while she's infilato granto. How do you say that?
I wouldn't know how you say
Doing
that.
the deed, in other words.
Yeah, check my Latin here.
Checking if the husband walks in or the wife walks in and they're catch them in the bedroom doing the thing, then there's there's a good possibility that that person would never kill again because it's such an impulsive thing. But the serial killers who kill multiple people or who are, premeditated murderers, I think they have a high chance of recommitting another crime.
Well, you don't let them out.
If the system really worked that way. But it's just like the guy right now in Arizona. I'm familiar with the case. And he killed a kid in Arizona. He was sentenced to death. And at the last minute, they came up with some kind of cockamamie appeal, and they let him out. Well, and then he came and he killed somebody else.
Well, I'm sorry, we are out of time. Obviously, these two are going to continue after the show, so we'll
But
settle
he's
this.
sleeping in the garage.
Well, that's
Even
what I
though
was
you're
hoping,
sweet.
that we stir something up. They kissed and made up. Well, too bad the viewers couldn't do that too. Thank you very much for one more time, Jim. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you next time.